Got some Sony news that's dropped today. Actually, got two stories for this one. One is on their censorship policies, and the other one is on their exclusives. So it kind of looks like they might be taking the Xbox route. What do I mean by that? Well, basically, the Xbox games are no longer exclusive to just the Xbox game consoles. They're now going to go to PC as well. So Gears of War 6, whenever that comes out, that's going to go on Xbox and on the PC. Halo Infinite, that's going to the PC and the Xbox, which is crazy. Crazy. That game's always been Xbox exclusive for the longest time. 1 and 2 were on PC way back in the day, but 3 and so on weren't until recently. The Master Chief Collection went on Steam and stuff. So that'll be interesting to see when all of that drops. But here's the big thing. So this is an interview with Jim Ryan, who is the president of Sony Interactive Entertainment. And he gives an interview here to GQ. And here is what I wanted to go over. So they start talking about releasing PlayStation games on PC. So here's the question. This is a follow-up to a question about the VR, which I'm not here to talk about. Fair enough. So releasing PlayStation games on PC was something that Sony PlayStation held back on for a long time. Now it sounds like you're very much on that bandwagon. What changed? I think a few things change. We find ourselves now in early 2021 with our development studios and the games that we make in better shape than they've ever been before. Particularly from the latter half of the PS4 cycle, our studios made some wonderful, great games, which is true. Some really good games. There's an opportunity to expose those great games to a wider audience and recognize the economics of game development, which are not always straightforward. The cost of making games goes up with each cycle as the caliber of the IP has improved. Also, our ease of making it available to non-console owners has grown, so it's a fairly straightforward decision for us to make. So it goes on to talk about Horizon Zero Dawn, which is, of course, on PC right now. So they're basically saying we're going to put our exclusives on PC now, but there's not a lot of detail in there. For one, they don't say PS5 games. They're talking about the latter half of their PS4 cycle, so maybe it's just those PS4 games that are going to go to PC, but he's leaving the door open. Now, are these going to be timed exclusives to the console and then they'll go to PC? I don't know. But it's interesting that they're opening up that possibility, and it would make more money. They'll make more money doing that because then, people that don't buy their system can buy just one game if they want to play it. So I don't know. Interesting little development. They've always kind of been standoffish on this, and they have lately been opening up. So I wonder, will you see Demon Souls go to Steam? That was the one PlayStation exclusive. Spider-Man. Will you see that game go to PC? You already had the baseball game going. I mean, you're going to see, even though it's just a baseball game, you're going to see a Sony published game on Xbox. So times are a-changing. However, their censorship policy doesn't seem to be a-changing. This is from DualShockers, covering a statement made by CyberConnect 2's president and CEO, Hiroshi Matsuyama, who claims that Sony asked them to make some changes to Naruto Ultimate involving the fourth Hokage character. Now, here's what's interesting about this that I want to talk about, because there's two examples in here. This is a very, very, very interesting piece, and it really does kind of show that Sony is kind of putting some bias when it comes to Japanese developers. In some ways, it looks like it's particularly being held to anime-style games. And I've talked about that before. There's really something going on with anime-style video games when it comes to Sony. And the reason that this is being discussed is, here's what happens. So let me explain. This is going to take a second to explain. This is the character they're talking about, Minato Namazaki. He's the fourth Hokage in Naruto. Now, in the show, in the manga as well, in the series, we'll just say, he loses his arm in a battle. He actually loses both arms, but he doesn't get them back, right? But here's the other thing. He's also dead. He's a reanimated human right now. But he does lose his arm. So apparently in the game, and it's been a long time since I played this game, but I did play it, so I don't remember, but I guess this is what happens. He doesn't lose his arms, right? He keeps his arm intact. And I really don't even think this is that bad looking. There wasn't even any blood, to be honest. This is his transformed state, by the way. Think of it as a Super Saiyan, for those of you who've never seen this. I think like everybody knows what a Super Saiyan is. But speaking of Super Saiyan, here's another example. In this game, this is Dragon Ball Z Kakarot, a game also made by CyberConnect 2. Tien Shinhan loses his arm fighting Nappa. This wasn't changed. This was kept in. So I don't know if it's because he has a third eye or not. He's not exactly human looking because he has the third eye, but he was allowed to keep his arm. He's not. So it's a very interesting case of censorship. The same developer, two different games. Sony asked them to make this change. However, you have games like The Last of Us Part 2, right? And in those games, you're allowed to have brutal scenes with all kinds of blood and gore. Another interesting thing, in Resident Evil 2 and 3, you're blowing off zombies' arms and legs. Why is that okay? Right? And that's Japanese developer. That's Capcom. So why was it different here? The only thing that they note in the report is that it's human appearances. They don't want that. They don't want people with a human resemblance to have their limbs blown off, basically. So, I don't know. They only say in here the difference between the Naruto game and the Dragon Ball game is that maybe the series has a realistic tone, but that doesn't make sense either, because come on, we're talking about reanimated humans. So, I don't know. And like they say here, Sony's stance on this matter is quite surprising considering the fact that some of its games have set a benchmark for mature tone in video games. For instance, The Last of Us 2 had several such brutal and gory moments, which, despite receiving some criticism, were highly widely acclaimed. So, I don't know. Very, very strange. I personally think and believe, in my opinion, that Sony is setting different standards for anime games and, you know, every other type of game. Because, I mean, it's just strange. I don't know what's going on over there. I'm sure more stuff will come out to talk about this, but I thought this was interesting and wanted to talk about it. So anyway, that's it, guys. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Also, if you would, please like, subscribe, share the video. Make sure you're still subscribed, hit that notification bell, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace. Also, if you want to help support the channel, check out my Teespring store. There's a link in the description. You can find some merchandise in there that you might want to check out.